Why, hello there. Welcome to Reverie East Auto. I am Lyle, owner and sole proprietor of this fine automobile establishment. Now, of course, we are known all up and down the Hudson for providing peerless luxury and extraordinarily high-performance vehicles to only the upper echelon of clientele. That being said, welcome, and may I ask, what brings you in today? Wonderful. Looking to purchase a vehicle. Well, we do love a person who's looking to purchase a vehicle. Might I ask for what purpose, or rather, to what end? Yes, to what end we be purchasing this vehicle? Would it be for example, racing, for taking the Mr. or Mrs. out on day drives? Would this be for long trips up and down the coast? Really? A party? You're telling me that you're purchasing an entire vehicle for one party, one night, one party? My, this is exactly why I love working with you rich customers so much. Spending all this money for one party for one night? Golly, it must be a pretty fancy party, a pretty important soiree, if you don't mind my saying. Might I inquire, if you would permit me, of course, might I inquire as to who will be throwing this gala? Who will be hosting such an event that requires the purchase of an entire automotive vehicle? Well, butter my biscuit. Really, you're telling me that old Gatsby is back in town? Golly, I say again, golly. That explains quite a bit, yes. If there ever was a party and a host who required the purchase of an entire vehicle in order to impress both him and the rest of his guests, it absolutely would be the one and only one Mr. Gatsby. Yes, indeed. Well, now, I, of course, have been invited and have attended a fair number of Mr. Gatsby's soirees, so I feel obliged to inquire, will this be your first time attending one of his parties? Wonderful. Well, then, I assure you, you are in for a treat. Let me repeat that again. You are in for a treat. You are in for a treat. It is an exceptional occasion, one which will not soon be matched by any other experience which you will have, out in our wonderful little part of the country. Yes, absolutely. Yes, his parties, I should say. There's just an aura about them now, isn't there? There's just a certain something that he has, whether it be the extravagant decorations, whether it be, well, the opulent partygoers themselves, or the host. I don't know that I could put my finger on it precisely, but, well, a Gatsby party is an occasion that I would not soon miss. Wonderful. In fact, if he's throwing a party, I might soon attend myself, so you and I, we might just bump into one another. But I digress. I now understand greatly why you require my services, and entirely appreciate the occasion. Yes, absolutely. And might I establish your confidence, or at least begin to do so, in your choice of particular automotive vendors? Because we here at Reverie East Auto are known around the globe, really, but specifically around the country, for providing all the most high class, all the most peerless, luxurious vehicles to only the most select of clientele, yes. Why, just the other day, yes, just the other day, I sold one Mr. J.P. Morgan. Yes, I sold one Mr. J.P. Morgan a new Rolls-Royce Phantom. Yes, I assume that you know both the name of my client as well as the name of that particular car. Yes, I thought you might. Old JP knows that whenever he's out in our part of the country, he should stop by Reverie East Auto, because we have the cars that will not just meet, but exceed his extraordinarily high standards. Yes, not just meet, but exceed his extraordinarily high standards. Yes, and you might be impressed by that little yarn, by that little tale. It's completely true, I might say. By the way, it's completely true. But you would perhaps be even more impressed to know that why just a few months ago, I sold old Billy Vanderbilt, the newest addition to his collection. Yes, old Billy Vanderbilt, the newest addition to his collection. Yes. Peerless car, wonderfully appointed with all the creature comforts and accoutrements. All the creature comforts and accoutrements, yes. Then a client like yourself and like old Billy Vanderbilt, I should say. My goodness, getting tongue-tied already. Not a good sign, especially when you and I, well, we might just break out some of the stronger stuff, maybe. Yes, but anyway, as I was saying, I provided old Billy Vanderbilt the newest addition to his automotive collection. He was very, very pleased with it. So you should know that we here at Reverie East Auto have a long-standing reputation for providing high-quality cars to high-quality clients. Yes, absolutely. And I understand that you know why you're here, but I do like to reiterate it just to, again, help establish that bit of necessary confidence and trust, to know that you've come to the right place, you're talking with the right person, and you are going to walk away here very satisfied with the car that you've purchased, all right? Very, very satisfied indeed. Very, very satisfied indeed. Absolutely. But now, before we get down to brass tacks, of course, because I've rambled on for far too long, but before we get down to brass tacks and really begin to inquire as to specifically what type of roadster you're acquiring for this soiree, there is one bit of business which I simply must insist we cover first. Yes, you see, I'm feeling a bit parched, and I imagine that a person such as yourself, you're feeling a little thirsty as well. Yes, wonderful. Now, I know that technically speaking, prohibition is still the law of the land, but seeing as how you're going to be attending one of Mr. Gatsby's parties, I can't imagine you have too many reservations about partaking in some of the stronger spirits, correct? Wonderful. Now, that is what we like to hear, because it just so happens that I recently acquired a rather wonderful vintage, yes, a 1928. Allow me to repeat that again, a 1928 Bordeaux, from the Bordeaux region of France, of course, specifically from Chateau Rothschild, yes. Specifically from Chateau Rothschild. Wonderful year for them it was, and I've been assured by my dealer, whom I used to procure such things, considering prohibition, that this is their finest vintage yet. Absolutely, that this is their finest vintage yet. He tells me that 1928 was a banner year for Bordeaux specifically, and that this red blend will, well, just about knock me off my feet. It will, with how delicious it is. Now, of course, I've been waiting for just the right occasion and just the right customer to share this particular beverage with. But seeing as how you're bringing news of Gatsby's return, well, I think that just about takes care of the occasion. And seeing how you're going to be purchasing a vehicle from me, a rather high-end vehicle that's opulent and grand and able to turn the heads of the partygoers, I'd say that you're just the right customer. So if you will just give me about one moment, I'll pour us a glass of this 1928 vintage, and we can have ourselves a little sample before we get down to brass tacks and really begin to discuss the actual transaction itself. How does that sound? Wonderful. I truly am glad to hear. Wonderful. Just one moment, please. Now, this particular Bordeaux, I've been assured, is a medium-bodied Bordeaux with a bit of a strong tobacco flavor, which I think is just perfect for an occasion such as this, where you and I will be discussing business. If you take a sniff at the perfume, or parfum, as they say in France, yes. I'm a rather cultured individual myself, just so happens. But if you take a gander at the perfume, you'll be met with notes of, again, tobacco, a smoky kind of scent, yes, and then woody notes there up at the top, yes. It's a very, very complex aroma, and deservedly so. Why, one bottle of this alone set me back $35, yes, $35. I could hardly believe it, but I'm not complaining. After all, it's a rare occasion when one gets the opportunity to get their hands on a genuine Bordeaux wine, especially one as prestigious, refined as this particular vintage happens to be. Absolutely, absolutely. So I am not complaining, not in the slightest. But again, I have gone on for a little bit too long. Here you are. Wonderful. And as you're sipping on that, you should be met with a wonderfully sumptuous and boozy flavor that kind of mellows out the palate, yes. But then, just as it's about to lull you to sleep, just as you're about to think, my goodness, how wonderful this wine is, doesn't it get just that little bit of bite to it, snaps you right on the tongue, wakes you up a little bit. That is the mark of a truly quality Bordeaux and a premium red wine vintage. Yes, wonderful. Now that we have the refreshments, shall we say, yes, now that we have the refreshments in order, I do believe, I do declare, I do believe that we can get down to selecting for you a particular vehicle which will be able to serve you for this occasion. Yes, wonderful. Now, as is customary, we'll start first with the lowest cost options and then move up in price, premium quality, and most importantly, comfort and luxuriousness. Now, excuse my assumption, I beg of you, please do excuse my assumption, but considering who you are and considering what party you'll be attending, I'm assuming that price will not be too much of a concern, and yet I would be reticent in my duties. Absolutely, I would be reticent in my duties if I did not properly inquire as to any particular cost thresholds which you may or may not want to avoid. Wonderful. Now, you had mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, you had mentioned you're looking for something specifically American-made, yes, specifically American-made, and more sporty, yes, something that might be able to moonlight as a racer, isn't that right, as a race car? Wonderful. I do declare we have plenty of vehicles to choose from, especially given your lack of price restrictions, shall we say. Wonderful. Now, as I mentioned, we'll start with the cheapest, lowest cost options. I shouldn't say cheapest, these are all extraordinarily high quality vehicles. You must understand, we're not going to imply that any of them are cheap or below standard, because they're not. We'll start at the lowest cost options and work our way up to our most premium vehicles. Okay? Wonderful. Now, the first vehicle that we have to offer you is the 1934 Ford four-door Deluxe. Yes, the Deluxe model has 10 more horsepower, bringing it up to 85 total horsepower. 10 more than the previous year model. A whole host of wonderful little accoutrements and additions, including that rather attractive Greyhound hood ornament you can see on there. Very, very classy feature. The chromed rims that you can see, yes, chromed rims. The cowl lights, yes. And all the rest of the little bits and bobs that are going to make this a bit more of a premium car than what Ford typically produces. This particular vehicle retails for about $675, and that's the I can sell it to you now price, by the way. So no need to worry too much about whether or not I have to order anything. That's of no concern. Over 100,000 models of this, or 100,000 units, I should say, of this particular model were produced. So not the rarest car by any means. No. Not the rarest car. But still a very classy vehicle. Very well appointed, smartly upholstered. I should say smartly upholstered. The bumper is now in the color of the body. Typically it was, formerly I should say, just black. So this is a new addition for the 34 model. It sports a V8 engine, yes, a V8 engine, which is one of the more powerful engines that Ford produces. And it has that redesigned grille. That grille has been rather smartly redesigned, I think, to give the whole automobile a more angular, more sleek look. In fact, everything about the 34 is just a little bit sleeker, a little more refined, a little bit more smart than the 33. Not groundbreaking, perhaps, by any means, but still one of the most popular vehicles out there. Potter trunk does come standard, makes the vehicle just have a little bit more length to it. Yes. In fact, this vehicle is so popular. Have you happened to have heard of the renowned bank robber Clyde Barrow? Yes. Well, he himself drives one of these, the Ford four-door, and swears by it. In fact, a little known secret just between you and myself, having shared a drink and now shared some business, that I was actually the one who sold that particular vehicle to Mr. Barrow. Of course, I didn't know who he was at the time, or I never would have made the sale, but still, just a little feather in my cap once more of the wonderful vehicles that I have sold to people of great renown. Yes, wonderful. Now, as I said, a very, very, perhaps a little bit standard vehicle, but still very well upholstered. Still looks quite charming. And, though it might be a tad bit mundane, an extraordinarily reliable vehicle that will meet most all of your road-going needs. It does have the Ford 3-point suspension system, which allows for a comfortable ride on even the roughest of roads, yes. And overall, a very well executed and well designed, if not a little mundane, offering. How do you find the Ford four-door? I see. I suspected as much, but I wanted to show you just to gauge once more your interest in cars, and then perhaps more importantly, your willingness to pull out the old checkbook, the old pocketbook. You understand, don't you? Of course you do. Now, let's let's get rid of the Ford four-door. Set that to the side for now. We want to stretch your budget, or lack thereof, a little bit more, and you want something a little bit more design, something a little bit more stylish, something a little bit more rare. Yes, wonderful, because I happen to have just the product for you. You understand? Yes, I happen to have just the product for you. This is the 1933 Auburn V12 12-165 boat-tail speedster, also known more colloquially as the Salon model. Yes, the Salon model speedster. It is supercharged, and it's also one of Auburn's most rare and most exclusive models ever produced. This retails for exactly $1,000 more than the Ford four-door, but you will soon see why precisely it earns, doesn't just deserve, but it earns that particular price tag. Yes, wonderful. Now, only 14, hear me again, only 14 of these cars were ever produced, because you see, the Auburn Automotive Company out of Auburn, Indiana, which is the producer of the boat-tail speedster, had fallen on hard times. Yes, it's fallen on hard times as of late. And Mr. Ernest Cord, yes, who's the owner of the Auburn Automotive Company, well, he's in a little bit of trouble as of current, for it seems stock manipulation, perhaps. So, though I would never condone such a thing, it might just be that you're able to get your hands on this particularly rare car for an exceedingly reasonable price because of his ne'er-do-well attitude. Yes. Now, as I mentioned, this is a V12 engine. Yes, and it's capable of reaching speeds up to 115. Hear that again, up to 115 miles per hour. That is, on average, faster than the winner of the previous year's Indianapolis 500. That makes this particular vehicle a certified race car. Not just a speedster, but a race car. This has a 6.4 liter engine with 160 horsepower. Some notable features that I'd like to point out to you are, first, the leaf spring suspension, again allowing for an exceedingly comfortable ride on your part, even going at those ludicrous speeds of 115 miles per hour. You must understand that's incredibly quick. So that suspension system is very, very useful for you. Another thing which I'd like to point out is that the frame on this particular vehicle is actually sturdier than the previous year's model. Yes, actually sturdier. And if you look closely at the wheels there, you'll notice that they have that unique kind of diamond shape that's actually embossed directly on the rubber. This is, of course, very, very unique. Very, very unique, and makes this one of the most desirable cars of this current Art Deco period. It truly is an iconic car, and it deserves the title of race car. This boat-tail speedster is more than capable of not just impressing people at this party because of its speed, but because of its rarity as well. Aside from that, you can tell it's a very beautifully appointed vehicle, yes, with smart upholstery, with luxurious interior, and thoughtful design, yes, which of course are all things you want to be looking for when you're looking for a vehicle. Yes. How do you find the Auburn boat-tail speedster? Okay. So looking for something that isn't just turning heads because of the rarity, isn't just turning heads because of the speed, but also because of the price. I see. Now at $1,600, you must understand that the boat-tail speedster is not a cheap day. Yes, no. Not in the slightest, but I can appreciate that for an occasion such as a party thrown by Mr. Gatsby, you'll be wanting perhaps a little bit more prestigious of a brand. Yes. Wonderful. Again, say no more. I believe I have for you a very, very prestigious brand with a matching price. This is the 1934 Buick Series 90 Victoria Coupe Deluxe. It retails for just under $2,000, and just over 300 units of this particular model were ever produced. This is a prestigious brand with a matching price and rarity, but I haven't even gotten to the very fair specs of this particular vehicle. No. So allow me to dive into just a little bit more detail. This is, of course, a two-door coupe, and being the Victoria Deluxe, has a considerable amount of extra chrome stylings and just that next level of classic Buick styling. It's poetry in motion going down the road. It is absolutely poetry in motion. Poetry in motion going down the road, and it floats because once again it has that leaf spring suspension in it. Leaf spring suspension, which is helping to keep under control the 116 horsepower engine this particular model sports. The Series 90, of course, is Buick's most luxurious, most expensive, and most powerful. Most luxurious, expensive, and powerful. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Reasons to purchase this vehicle, that is, of this particular model year. Yes, of this particular model year. A rumble seat does come standard with this particular vehicle, offering, although I assume that you won't need it, a chance to take just that one extra passenger. Yes, very, very useful. Now, this is an 8-cylinder engine, a straight 8-cylinder engine, as they've come to be known. Very, very powerful, but it does not skimp out on the luxury either. It does not. No. Wouldn't dream of it. It does not skimp for a moment on the luxury. It's got velvet plush upholstery, and for that added bit of luxury, a fresh air ventilator keeps everything wonderfully cool and refreshing inside. Very, very comfortable. Yes, very, very comfortable. So not only does it look like a piece of art rolling down the road, not only does it look like a piece of art rolling down the road, but it's also extraordinarily comfortable. Very, very comfortable. And it just has that little bit of extra prestige that perhaps a brand like Auburn does not possess. Yes. So Buick, of course, you know, is, I think the 3rd or 4th best-selling automotive brand in the United States. Very, very held in high regard. Yes. How do you take the Buick Series 90? Yes. Okay. You know what? I do declare, I do believe that perhaps an American car in this particular price range is not going to be suiting your needs. I've shown you 3 so far, all 3 of them increasing in price, yes. But nothing has quite caught your attention in the way that I believe you want it to, and knowing that you want to catch others' attention as well. So though this Buick is achingly beautiful from a car person such as myself, I can appreciate that perhaps you need a little bit of European influence. Now, I know, of course, that you, at the beginning of this session, had requested an American-made car, but I'd like for a moment just to distract us with a European offering. I'd like to tempt you with one, if you wouldn't mind, of course. Wonderful. In that case, allow me to introduce to you the 1935 Delahaye Series 135M model, which retails for over $5,000. Yes, quite the jump up in price, but an even greater jump up, not just in performance, but in luxury as well. Delahaye, of course, is a very well-respected French brand, and you know, as they say, if Germany was the birthplace of the automotive industry, then France was its nursery. Yes, if Germany was the birthplace, then France was its nursery. So, the Series 135 is also known as the Coupe des Alpes because of its incredible success in alpine racing. In fact, the Series M is a certified race car. It has performed extraordinarily well, not just on the alpine courses, but at various Grand Prix and most notably the Le Mans as well. Yes, it's a very reliable vehicle that boasts very impressive performance, despite it only having a 6-cylinder engine. Yes, a 6-cylinder engine with just over 3 liters and only 115 horsepower. Now you might be thinking, now how is that possible that such a small engine is comparatively underpowered to some of the other American models that I've shown you would be doing so well? Well, the answer is that this particular model is actually a truck engine. Yes, you see, Delahaye was a truck manufacturer before they were a luxury car manufacturer. So this engine is so wonderfully simple and extraordinarily powerful because it comes from a truck. Yes, it's a little bit of a humorous factoid for you. Now, it should not at all detract you, of course, from the product itself, and I imagine it will not, because as you can see, this car is beautifully styled. Not just beautifully styled, but wonderfully curvaceous, classically upholstered, and the design philosophy is so unique with the Delahayes. It really is so unique because it makes them one of one. You must understand that all Delahayes, Delahaye being such a luxury manufacturer, they are all in some way custom. There are no two Delahayes, even those that are Series 135 Model M, that are exactly alike. We have many in our lot that are all just that little bit different from one another, yes, which we can of course show you, offer you, or if you prefer, we can get into contact with Delahaye itself and procure for you a vehicle which exactly matches your specifications. Yes, this is one of the most luxurious European brands which are available, highly sought after, and only about 2,000 of the units have been produced. Yes, so though perhaps not as rare as, say, the Auburn, for example, still a very prestigious brand, very well respected brand, and a powerful one too. This vehicle can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 10 seconds. You heard that right. Under 10 seconds. Under 10 seconds. Truly something extraordinary that the French have engineered. And of course it does come with all the expected luxuriousness of a French vehicle. If there's one thing the French know how to do, if you want my personal opinion, if there's one thing the French know how to do, it is manufacture a stunning vehicle. Something that not just turns heads, but catches eyes and makes everyone stop and look for just a little while. Especially the Delahayes. Absolutely. Especially the Delahayes. Now, as I mentioned, this curvaceous, this luxurious, this, quite frankly, unique and special exterior is paired with an equally luxurious and comfortable interior. Yes. And, of course, it has all the various suspension upgrades and whatnot that you would expect from a vehicle such as this. Yes. very, very high quality, you must understand, very high quality vehicle. How do you find the 35 Delahaye? Okay, I see. Well, if it's anything that might convince you, this particular vehicle does remind me of the Crane Simplex Series 5 that I sold to one Mr. Rockefeller not too long ago, just a few years ago in fact. He, like yourself, was looking for something that was sleek, something that was impressive, and perhaps most importantly, something that would get people's attention, wake them up a little bit. And if I didn't mention it, in terms of power, boy, will this particular vehicle wake you up. I've had the opportunity to test drive one or two in my time, and every time you get on the throttle, it just sits you back in your seat. It is something special, I do declare. Yes. But I can tell that you're still not quite convinced. Not quite convinced, even with the high price tag and premium brand. But you know what? Ordinarily, this would be the point where I would have to retire. I'd have to surrender and say, my goodness, I just do not think we have a vehicle for you. Right? I do not think we have a vehicle that will meet your needs or specifications. But on this occasion, on this very special occasion, I may reiterate, I do believe that we have just the vehicle for you. Yes, just that one particular vehicle which is going to do everything that you want it to, but most importantly, might even turn the head of old Mr. Gatsby himself. Yes, I would like to take this opportunity then to introduce to you the Duesenberg Model J. Yes, the 1935 Duesenberg Model J. It's an extraordinarily expensive car. Only a few hundred have been made, and it retails for $25,000. You heard that right, $25,000. That's correct. Now, old sport, I imagine you have some questions. Because starting with, of course, that's an awful lot of money, but you must understand, the Duesenberg Model J is no ordinary sports car. It's more akin to like the Rolls-Royce, those extra ultra luxury cars which you see on the road. It's more akin to that than perhaps the Auburn, although interestingly both the Duesenberg and the Auburn are made by that same manufacturer. Yes, so you might be able to procure this one for a little bit less than its retail price, but I suspect that no one, including myself, would want to sell you this for a penny under $25,000. Now, why is that? Because this is an absolute powerhouse of a luxury vehicle. It has over 300 horsepower on a straight 8-cylinder engine. Extraordinarily powerful, and yet also very luxurious and surprisingly quiet. When you're inside of this particular vehicle, you would swear you are driving a magic carpet for how much noise you hear. You can have a conversation inside the car. That is how quiet this particular vehicle is. Yes, as you can see, it is gloriously luxurious. Premium design, exceptionally thoughtfully designed. Yes, this is made by the Duesenberg company, of course, who are renowned for producing custom, completely custom, in some cases, high quality luxury vehicles, and being able to provide them to only the most wealthy and only the most only the upper echelon, I should say, of individuals like yourself in this case. Why, old Joe Lilly, yes, of the Lilly Pharmaceutical Company, younger brother to Eli, don't you know? Even Joe Lilly, who is notorious for being a bit of a loner, doesn't want to ask anybody for anything, reached out to Duesenberg himself, a direct line of communication, to request the production of a vehicle not dissimilar to the one you see before you here. Yes. So if there was ever any degree of encouragement that you could achieve from one of my client recommendations, this would surely be it. Joe Lilly doesn't ask anybody for anything except when he requests a car from Duesenberg. Yes. Now, this particular vehicle is striking. It really is. It's striking when it's on the road. It commands the presence of the road. Not only will it turn heads, not only will it catch eyes, but it's going to command the attention of everyone in a solid 2-mile radius. Yes, absolutely. And if there ever was a car that might just turn the head of old Gatsby himself, as lavish as his lifestyle is, I cannot hope to presume that a car such as this one would go under his radar. I believe that this is the vehicle to turn his head. Absolutely. Catch his eye, grab his attention, and not let go until you personally have given him a tour of all of its various inner workings. An impressive motor. Absolutely. Now, of course, everything that we have talked about in terms of luxury, accoutrements, and appointments are all present, including a very, very, what is the word I am looking for? I would have to say effective, yes. Leaf spring suspension system, yes. All sorts of extraordinarily powerful brakes. Absolutely. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you take such an expensive car as the Duesenberg out to the racetrack, but if you wanted to, could you? Absolutely. And not only would you be able to race it, but you would win. I can almost guarantee it every time. Yes. That is how powerful and how extraordinary this particular car is. A few things you'll want to be noting is just how extraordinarily aerodynamic this vehicle is, starting with that biplane bumper up front, which cuts through the wind quite wonderfully and allows you to just float down the road. Yes, this has superior handling and a very, very responsive steering system, as you would expect for the price tag. It blends American power with European styling and sensibilities, and the result is, in my personal opinion, pure art. Yeah, pure art. One thing you will know, the canvas, the bit of canvas, of course, that keeps you protected from the rain, the cover, is not actually canvas at all. In fact, it's leather. Yes. Is it practical? Of course not. When it gets wet, you have to replace it. But you're not looking for practical, are you? No. You're not looking for practical. You're looking for something that's going to catch everyone's attention. And I can personally guarantee that this will do the job. Absolutely. And though it is, of course, extraordinarily expensive, I guarantee that no other person, no matter how affluent, rich, wealthy, however you'd like to put it, or well-known they are, will be driving a Duesenberg Model J. So, you will be one of one at old Gatsby's soiree. Yes. How do you take the Duesenberg Model J? I see. Wonderful. Now, I do declare, and I do believe that is all the vehicles that I have tonight, which match your specifications and will be able to do what you're setting out to do, if you understand. Yes, Alright. Have any of them caught your attention? Have any of them you taken a liking to? Any which you would like to purchase? Excellent. Now that is a rather fantastic choice, if I do say so myself, and as a matter of fact, I do say so myself. Now, as is customary, we will have that particular vehicle delivered to your residence. No hassle, no extra fee or charge. But we will have to have, of course, a little bit of paperwork filled out on your end before we're able to deliver it to you. That paperwork will be delivered by courier first thing tomorrow morning. I'll make sure of it personally. You understand? Yes. But all of that business, you must understand, all of that business is secondary. Tonight, we celebrate. Yes. We celebrate you finding a vehicle, one which will not just make an impact at the Gatsby soiree, but which will totally define the talk of the town for the next few weeks or so. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, drink up a little bit more of that wonderful Bordeaux, and we'll make sure that all the rest of the business is taken care of in the coming weeks, okay? Wonderful. As always, thank you so much for stopping by Reverie East Auto. Reverie East Auto. And I trust that next time you're in need of a particular vehicle that is of peerless luxury and styling, you will know who to ring up, correct? Wonderful. That is fantastic. And if you are ever in need of any repairs, of course, we are always able to supply you with necessary parts or do all of the repairs in-house for you. Wonderful, but I suspect, unless of course you're running that roughshod through the streets, that being such a reliable vehicle, it will not need repairs for some time. Wonderful. Now have a splendid rest of your evening, old sport, and I will see you again very soon. You understand? Yes? Very soon indeed. Alright. Have a good night, and goodbye.